Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here today with a new member of the ACE team. This is Izzy. Welcome, Izzy. Thanks for
Hey,
joining us today. Now, your full name, and it's a bit of a mouthful because it's Polish, but it's Izabela Głębicka. Did I say that right?
very good. Very good.
When I read your surname with in writing, it didn't sound like Głębicka at all. It looked like Glebika, but apparently that's wrong.
Yeah, everyone says Glebika, but
Yep.
it's
Głębicka. That's
okay.
right. We got it. So for those who don't know you, Izzy, you are a very new member of the ACE team. You've joined us about 3 weeks ago, and you're sort of heading up our marketing and communications department now. And the department is a department of one. It's you.
One army.
That's right. But up to this point, the last few years, most people would be familiar with our marketing through social media. They've seen lots of stuff on Facebook and Instagram from myself, from Bo, from Gabby, previously from Ali, and a bunch of us sort of been putting out lots of content for the last little while. And for those who have been playing at home, paying attention, they may have noticed the quality of the content that we've been putting out over the last few weeks kind of increasing. And that's down to you. So thank you very much, Izzy, for everything you've been doing. You are our secret weapon with regards to communication and marketing at the moment. Not secret anymore, but you're still our weapon. And so we've been really excited to see some of our content we're creating looking better and being more effective and more efficient and all the things that we all want to be in business all the time. And my hope was that when we brought someone into this role that they would be able to do exactly that. And you've done it. So thank you very much. And it's only, I think, 3 weeks since we started. So I thought we'd get you on today for this conversation because I thought there's so many health practitioners out there, clinic owners, who could benefit from some advice, some ideas, and some thoughts from someone who knows marketing, knows communication, and knows psychology, those sort of things combined. So I've done something that I don't normally do today, which is actually write down questions. Normally when we have these conversations, I just talk off the top of my head and we just have this rambling conversation. But so that we can get as much value for the listeners and the viewers as possible, I've put down 8 questions. Izzy, are you ready?
Ready.
You're ready. All right. But before we get into that, let's get you to give a little bit of an introduction to everybody about who you are, where you're from, how you got into doing what you're doing now.
Okay, so that's going to be a little bit of story. Let's start where I'm from. I'm Polish. I know everyone, if people hear my accent, they always ask where you're from as a first question. So I'm from Poland. I'm 100% Polish, and I'm living in Australia. But to start this story since the beginning, I'm a psychologist. I studied psychology for 5 years in Poland. And when I was studying psychology, I was looking for what I would like to do in my life, because I always want to be passionate, whatever I do. And I found psychology, and then I was sure, yes, that's going to be a psychology. And as you can know, psychology, it's just a big part, but inside psychology, there's clinical psychology, business psychology, forensic psychology. So I kind of try what could be my passion. And when I was looking, somebody suggests, it's actually not suggestion. Somebody just realized that I actually choose marketing and business faculties. And I realized, yes, that I unconsciously was choosing those. So I thought, yeah, great. I found something, but it wasn't specific at that stage yet. So I had my but I've done some subjects such as psychologist in online business, psychology of consumer behavior, and so on and so on. Then when it comes to choose my internship, I've done internship for a theater in Warsaw when we design a marketing strategy for this theater. Then I end up work in marketing, but it was still marketing, but it was outdoor. So totally different field of marketing, because apparently marketing is same big as psychology. Then I finished my degree and I decided to leave Poland, and Australia was my big goal since always. So I put a lot of effort to get here.
Got to interrupt you there for 1 second. Interrupt. Mm-hmm. I do this a lot. I interrupt. Why Australia? Why not somewhere else?
Okay, so I always want to live abroad since my childhood. So very early, I just find out like I don't want to live in Poland. So a few years old girl, I want to live Poland. And then I travel all over the world, and I kind of try on countries that my personality will match. So I used to live in England, I used to live in the US, and I travel like many countries. And then Australia came. I never been here before, but I knew since the very beginning I have to do a lot to get here. So they wanted me to speak fluent English. They wanted me to have a lot of money on my account. They wanted me to have my degree and other things. So I've done that. I worked for years to get to this point. And then I've got my visa. I'm here. And I had a break with my career because I needed to do work for my visa to get extension on my visa. So I ended up in a museum. But even if when I worked there, I still was thinking to be back what I really want to do. And I knew it's not as easy for me as for other people to work in Australia in industry that I want to, because it's not my first language. I'm on the other side of the world, so I don't have family support, and I need experience. And obviously, I don't have Australian experience, but I wanted to start. So I work as a volunteer for Arts and Crafts Gallery for a couple of months, still doing my work to extend my visa. I got some experience there, and that allows me to have my another job. I worked for chiropractor practice for a while, so still health industry. Then I found another job for video marketing agency, and eventually I found you. So I got this Australian experience, and I got to this point where I know exactly what I want to do. So I definitely would like to stick to psychology of consumer behavior.
Yeah, great. And I think that ties nicely into, what we do in the health industry too, because, we all want to do a great job for our patients. We all want to be able to, provide a really quality service and service their needs and help them with their pain and whatever else they present with. But at the same time, to be able to do that, we have to understand how they think and to be able to communicate effectively. So this whole psychology of human behavior thing is not just important for marketing, it's important for a therapist, I think, too, in clinical practice. That's really important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say it's true that psychology is everywhere, but my experience with different businesses says that we're still not at this stage when we know much about psychology. We're a little bit afraid of psychology, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Whatever you do in your business, psychology is everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Right. Next question. So why is understanding and employing marketing in a business so important? Why do we need to understand and use marketing in business?
The simple answer is because we want to reach more people, and that's what marketing is doing.
Right. It gives us a megaphone, right? Like a microphone. We can talk to more people. We can get our message out to more people rather than just one at a time. Yeah?
Exactly.
Beautiful. Yeah. Simple answer. And I think that kind of sums up a lot of, for people who sit on the fence about, look, I'll just go to work every day and do my thing and my business will grow. It probably will. Like it might, but it could grow faster and you could reach more people, like is what you're saying, right? You have a bigger voice when you use marketing effectively.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You still might grow it because other people are going to recommend you, but you still reach just this one person providing excellent service.
Yep.
But how about if you employ marketing and you do webinars
Yep.
you reach much more, because one webinar is going to be watched by many people, not just this one person in your practice.
So this next question sort of ties into the last one, I think. So, which is, what do you think most health practitioners do badly with regard to their marketing? What are they not doing well?
I think there's too much relied on referrals, not realize that marketing is such a big field. And there's so much to do with marketing. Marketing is not only referrals. Yeah,
I see this myself, right? I talk to health practitioners all the time. How do you get most of your business? Word of mouth referrals. Like, it's the big, and that might work like that, and that will work eventually, right? Like, you've got to get to the point where you have enough people talking about you that it creates sort of a snowball effect, and that just kind of builds and builds. But especially in the early days, referrals is a hard way to build a business.
It is. It's very valuable, obviously, because referrals are very strong. Let's say if somebody's going to, if your friend recommends someone, you just believe, and it's such a strong marketing activity. And I think referral-based marketing, it's very specific for health industry, because it's so obvious. Everyone relies on referrals. It's just what it is. You don't even think about other forms of marketing. That's the main one. But look how much else you can do if you use other forms on marketing. How many more people you can reach.
That's right. It comes back to your first point. Like, we all want to help people, right? So it gives you an opportunity to reach more people, get your message out to more people. Yeah.
Exactly. So that means you can help more people.
Yeah, and that's what we all want to do, right? Good on. Next question then. Let's flip that around. So what would be some simple things that every health practitioner should be doing on a regular basis to help grow their business or their brand? What should they be doing regularly?
Definitely try everything. In marketing, sometimes you don't know what's going to work and what won't work. Like, let's say, even if we post something on our social medias, we are quite often surprised that this post was so popular. Because why not the post when we spend a few hours, put so much effort, so much value, and people are not interested in this post that much. And as I mentioned before, because marketing is so huge and the only limit of marketing is your imagination. And I'd say we should try everything and try how it works. If it works, just develop what works. And I think probably in the health industry, it's not a thing that you try everything. You find out what you like to do and you tend to just do more of that, but that's not necessarily the right way to do it, is it? You make a good point there. You think that try everything. We've experienced this the last few weeks. Like, Bo and I have been creating content. We give it to you, and you kind of manipulate it and turn it into different kind of useful posts and things. And Bo and I, for the last couple of years, have been doing this thing like, just written this thing. It's going to explode. Everybody's going to love this. It's going to get lots of feedback. People are going to share it. It's going to go viral, right? We post it at the height of the day where most people are online, and we get one comment, 0 shares, and nobody sees it. We think, just spent 2 days writing that thing. How did nobody enjoy that, get something out of it, find it valuable? And then 2 days later, we just throw something up there that we've hardly put any thought into, and then, there's 100 comments and it goes crazy and people are sharing it everywhere. It just doesn't make any sense. And this is why you've got to try everything to know. Like, we've been at this for years now. We're only just starting to figure out what is going to work. And even then, you still sometimes get it wrong. But if all you ever do is the one thing every day, all you ever get is the same response every day. And the funny thing about social media is that response tends to go down over time, right? If you're not creative, if you don't try different things. So you have to post as much as you can to find out what your audience likes. And the other big thing is you never know. Like, you cannot cheat the algorithms. You cannot push it.
And they keep changing them anyway, right? So you can't. As soon as you think you figured it out. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's frustrating, but at the same time, like it's kind of fun. Yeah. And if you know, you can gamify things a little bit. You can kind of turn things into a bit of a competition. Let's see if this works. And if it doesn't work, let's change it and do it a little bit differently next time. And from the perspective of a business owner, myself, that's great. It's time consuming. And this is why it's really valuable for me to have someone like you to be able to play with things and put the time and effort into creating things into different kind of models of expression, because it means that I can spend more time in my business doing other things, right? And I understand that not everybody is in the position to be able to bring in a team member to be able to manage that stuff. But when you can, you probably should, because it's so valuable, so valuable.
Yes, you still have 24 hours. You educate yourself for many, many years to be good at what you're doing. And that's what you want to do. You just want to help people. Or like in your case, you want to educate as much people as you can. And then you have those 24 hours and you're spending it to design graphics in Canva or posting. So in my perspective, it's waste of your time. Because why you spend so much money to educate yourself? Why you spend so much time to end up doing this? And you cannot go any further because you stop yourself.
Yeah, it becomes a bit of a you become the bottleneck, like of the funnel. Like everything kind of flows to you, and at a certain point, you can only do so much. Like you said, there's only 24 hours in a day, and if you're a one-man business, one-woman business, then you have to at some point figure out a way to pass some of that responsibility, some of that time commitment out to other people. Yeah.
And if
the questions. Oh, sorry, going on another point.
If we okay, so I had a look from a perspective when you want to help people, but even if you think from your business and money perspective, if you delegate those tasks, this type of task, you can spend much more time doing workshop conferences, and you're not replaceable there. And if you do more conferences, you've got more money to your business, so you can grow. And that's the other perspective.
Yeah, that's right. And I think a lot of therapists in clinical practice would experience this, where they're like, yeah, okay, I know that I need to do social media. I know I need to be writing blogs and sending out newsletters and doing all that stuff. But if I'm treating in the clinic for 10 hours a day and I come home and I've got a family and I've got, hobbies and things that I want to do outside of work, where is the time for that? I think the short answer is, in the early stages of business, you find time, you give up sleep, you give up hobbies, you give up leisure time to do those things if you want to grow a business. If you don't want to do that, well, then go and work for somebody else, because that's the decision. You can't really have a big goal of growing this business into something amazing and have all the spare time in the world. You can't have both things. So it just comes down to a decision, and there's nothing wrong with going to work for somebody else. I don't see that as an issue at all. You can still find a job doing the thing that you're passionate about, without the hassle of doing all the marketing and the business side of things, right?
Exactly. I think if you work full-time for somebody, you can give your full attention what you do. Let's say helping people have a visit, have clients. But then if you do your business, you just realize that you've got invoices to issue, to pay, you've got accounting, you've got changing law, you've got marketing, you've got all of that stuff. And that's a lot.
It is.
So it's still a decision if you want to commit to do all the things around, or you just want to do exactly what you want to do and you're not worried about other things.
Yeah, absolutely. It just comes out of that decision. Izzy, talk to me about business versus personal brand. Like, we often hear about building a personal brand, getting your name out to the world, versus building a business name. And to put it in more context for the clinical, for the therapists in clinical practice, like some people might want to build Melbourne Sports Medicine Centre, right? That's a business name, versus the person who owns it and runs it, right? Is it important to have a business name and a personal brand?
I think personal brand definitely helps in this industry, and exactly in this industry, right? And it's also so much easier to trust someone who's a person, not who's a company, because what's company? We are human beings. We want people. But there are some disadvantages of having personal brands, because you are based in referral, as we talked about that before. But how about if you've got very unhappy clients? You can lose your good name very easily. But personal branding, it's also a very good way to start.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And I think for anybody who wants to build a business that they want to sell, that's where it becomes useful to have a business brand, right? So if you had like for me, right? So for example, with ACE, so I've got ACE as the business brand and also my name, which I've built up over the years speaking and teaching and in clinical practice. And so if I wanted to sell ACE, I probably could, because people recognize that brand. But at the same time, my personal brand has enough value that I can go and do something else with it afterwards if I choose to. So having both could be useful, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely. Yep. So as I mentioned before, there are advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. What about for someone who hates social media? And I know a lot of what you do for us is on social media, and that's how we reach a lot of people with our stuff. And social, in my opinion, social media is really valuable. But what if you've got someone who comes to you and says, I don't want to do my marketing anymore, I want you to do it for me, I don't use social media, I don't like social media, I think it's a waste of time. What would you say to them?
I think if you don't like social media, so ask you a question. How about if your clients like social media? How about if you're on social media? And how about if you live in this small bubble and you want to serve your clients, but you don't understand that you can reach much more people on the internet. As I mentioned before, there's no we cannot compare when you've got visit with your client one-to-one, why you do a webinar for many people.
Right. So it's,
and I think if you don't like social media, obviously you can employ someone to do it for you. But in my opinion, I still feel there's a part of social media that you can delegate. But I still feel that people want to see your passion, your vision, your mission, and that's what's here. So I would delegate tasks like scheduling, like editing newsletter, like design graphics. But I would leave this person who's got this passion to social media.
Yeah. So find someone who can do it. Yeah. But what if that same person turned around and said, my business is going okay without doing social media, but I want to grow it. I just don't want to do it that way. What would you say to that?
So the business definitely can grow without social media, obviously. Where it's so complicated and it's not black and white. But I would say, look how many opportunities you miss if you're not there. How about if your clients are on the internet? Look how many people are using internet and how many people you can reach using digital marketing. We've got so much more opportunities. So let's say digital marketing, you've got email marketing, you've got social media, you can stay in touch with your clients. You've got webinars, you've got a podcast. It's all digital marketing, and look how many opportunities.
Yeah, that's good. That's a really good example. In fact, it just reminded me of something I was thinking about the other day. I was surfing, and I realized that surfing has taught me something that I haven't learned anywhere else, which is the more times you get an opportunity to have a go at something, the more chances you've got of getting it right. So I was sitting out there on my board waiting for the right wave to come. And every time these waves, I'll be going, no. And occasionally some of those waves would get right upon me and I'll be like, I should have got that one. And I've missed it. If I'd paddled onto every single wave that came, I got much better chance of getting a good wave than if I try to be really picky and just do the ones that I'm comfortable with.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
So
exactly.
have more tries at it.
And I can tell you what I believe, that you win because you try so many times, not because you're just good.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
Absolutely. Good
And
advice.
also, I would pay, like as a psychologist, I will also pay attention on the side that you say you don't like social media. So whatever you're saying, like what's in your mind, psychology features about this triangle where you've got thoughts, behavior. So your thoughts influence your behavior. So you can change behavior to change your thoughts. To change your beliefs, or you can change beliefs and thoughts to change your behavior. So I think just give it a go.
Yeah.
Because what's in here just blocks you.
Yeah.
Or also you can find another motivation. If you want to help people, like you can think about it that I don't like it, but I give it a go because there are people that I want to help. And I've heard it helps also with public speaking, when you just focus on people that I want to give value, that helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with that more. I know that public speaking, what do they say? It's more people are afraid of public speaking than they are afraid of dying. Like it's a greater fear than death.
How about they would be afraid much more that they've got knowledge and they're not going to help those people if they're not going to do public speaking.
Exactly. And that was a big fear of mine. I get up in front of thousands of people and speak now, no problem. I love it. It's like my favorite thing to do is have an audience to be able to share something with. But initially terrifying. You get the sweats and your heart's racing, and it's the same thing with anything. If you're afraid of it, then do more of it. Like have more goes at it. Yeah.
And also I can say you might be afraid of it because you just don't know it. You know nothing about social media. Like those things are for younger generation, for young people. They're doing great, like not for me. But your fear might be because you don't know social media. But how about if you give it a go? If you do baby steps, it might work eventually. You just have to start somewhere. Like how can you start and be a master? You just start to be this clumsy person, not knowing what you're doing.
And then see where it takes you, right? Yeah. So you talked about psychology before and how that ties into all of this. So how important is having an understanding around psychology in building a business? Do we need to understand psychology as business owners?
I would say definitely yes. And I also realized that psychology is definitely underrated. But if you have a look even on business, you've got it everywhere. Wherever you write an email, you communicate, you present your product to your clients, there's psychology, and psychology is everywhere. Psychology is even when you the time management, when you manage your time, there's psychology as well. If you've got motivation, if you talk to your client, if you want to provide a good service, psychology is everywhere. You cannot miss it.
Yeah, I think that's true. And you talked about communication and how I think anyone who's been watching stuff from ACE for especially the last couple of years will know that we're really big into the words we use when we communicate with patients, right? And when someone comes in and says, I've put my back out, or I've done my hamstring, or I've blown my disc out in my back, or something like that, the words they use tell us so much about what they believe. And then the words we use as a health practitioner is so powerful in influencing the patient about what they will then do, or how they should behave or believe, what they should believe about it going forward. And so that's all psychology, right? It's just, we call it pain science and communication in pain science, but it's in the way we communicate to our children. It's the way that we communicate to people in society. The question I asked was, how important is psychology in business? It's really a simple answer. It's everything. It's everything we do. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Let's go full circle now to the last question, which is, should everyone be managing their own marketing, or should they outsource it to someone like you? And I'm not saying anybody who's listening or watching this should go to you and try to take you away from ACE, because that's the last thing we want them to do. But someone like you, right? Should everybody be trying to hire somebody else into their business? Is that the goal?
Mm-hmm. So my approach is, I wouldn't delegate whole marketing to a person, because let's say I'm not in this industry. I don't fully understand your clients yet. You know them for years, and you've got this passion, this mission that you want to present to people. You want to build those personal relations with people. But even if you have a look on it, from business perspective, and I probably mentioned it before, you cannot go any further if you are stuck doing things like simple tasks like creating design.
Okay.
You should manage your time differently.
Yeah, that makes sense. Izzy, this has been great. Thank you so much. I think that giving everybody this perspective from someone who's not, not necessarily in the health industry, but understands communication from a business marketing perspective is going to be really useful. So much of what we create here at ACE is just about, the clinician and what they're doing. And we often forget about this other part of business, which is how to actually build a business that is successful enough to sustain us so that we can do what we want to do, be able to help people. There's no point having a business that you just kind of drive into the ground doing your best work every day, but you can't afford to feed yourself and feed your family. Mm-hmm. And the kind of advice we get from people like you helps us do what we are really passionate about. So thank you very much.
And you help me do what I'm passionate about. It's a great combo, right?
Everybody wins.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. I hope everyone listening and watching this took something of value, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.